Yo, what up, family? Today's video is a rant. All right. So, if you've been following the channel, you'll know that I have a Supra inbound to the United States. Right. I was stationed in Japan for 3 years, and while being in Japan, I was fortunate enough to acquire all of my dream cars. Right. So I got an R32, I got an Mk4 Supra, and I got an Aristo. The GTR is already here. It came over on my orders, so it was hassle-free, painless, right? The Supra and the Aristo were not of age to come back. They weren't 25 years old, so they weren't of age to come back when I came back on orders. So had to have them stored. Actually, the Aristo, a friend of mine has it, and you know, he's using it until it's time to come back over. So I decided to embark on the process of importing the car myself, right? As opposed to going through a broker. I've heard a lot of horror stories and so on and so forth. So I wanted to see what it was all about. I wanted to experience it for myself. The type of person I am, I like to go to the source for information, right? So I went to the U.S. Customs Office here in Memphis, not knowing that every state is different. I didn't know that. The more you know, right? But anyway, so I go inside the office, and the guy's like, is this the point of entry? Is this state going to be the point of entry? I was like, no, it's coming in Jacksonville, Florida. He's like, well, you need to talk to them. He provided me the number, and I was like, okay, so with the research that I was doing, I was provided a couple of forms that I needed to fill out. I can't even get the forms through you, or you can't provide me with the information on how to fill out these forms. He's like, your best bet is to talk to customs in Jacksonville. Okay, no problem. Picked up the phone, called customs in Jacksonville. The title of the person, the extension that I used was import specialist. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm importing something. I want to talk to somebody who that's their expertise. That would be an import specialist, right? Wrong. Anyway, so I called the import specialist, right? And she's like, I can provide, she said, you need to fill out these forms. And she lists off the forms. And she's like, I can provide you with a link. I'm like, okay, you can provide me with a link to get the forms. But I explained it to her. I was like, I've never done this before. I'm just looking for some information. I'm trying to understand what all I need to do, you know, the information and so on and so forth. Because when I looked at the forms, it was asking for things that I wouldn't necessarily have. I have a business. I have an EIN number, but I'm not bringing the car in through my business. This is a personal car. It's not a business car. You are going to see it on the YouTube channel. It is going to be used for my channel, right? But that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is because it's a dream car and I have it, so I want it, right? But anyway, so I explained that to her, and she was like, do you have a broker? I said, I don't have a broker. She's like, I can provide you with a link on how to get a broker. And I was like, well, when I read the customs forms, it says I don't need a broker. I mean, there's two options, right? I choose the option of trying to learn how to do this myself. All I'm asking for is some guidance. Lady tells me again, I can provide you with a link. I said, okay, thank you. I'll take the link. I went through the link, and the link she provided me, it told me that I didn't need a broker, right? It told me I could do it myself, providing that I wasn't going to be doing it on a consistent basis. Okay, no problem. A friend of mine helped me to file the paperwork with the port. So when you file the paperwork through the port, the company that ships the car over, or truck or whatever it is that you're going to be shipping in, they will send you bill of ladings. They're going to send you basically a dossier of everything. It's going to have your export certificate. It's going to have bill of lading. It's going to have a couple other little documents, right? And I will do a part 2 to this video once I have the car and once I've gone through the entire process and I know all the steps. I will give you a detailed video where I'm showing you what forms to fill out, and I'm showing you who needs to get what and how and so on and so forth. I say that because you can't pay for this stuff with a credit card or cash. You have to pay for it with cashier's check, wire transfer, or cargo pay. There's a couple other options, but all of which require you to do something other than provide a credit card or cash itself, right? Didn't know that before embarking on this venture. But anyway, so I paid the fee that I got from the company that shipped the car over. I paid the processing fee. I paid another fee. Again, I'm going to do a detailed list of what everything is with the acronyms and so on and so forth, because they were blowing my mind with the acronyms that they were saying. Stands to reason that, this is something that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. And me, the novice, having never dealt with it before, I'm like, what? What are you talking about, right? So I get that. But my frustration is in the pushing you towards a broker. Brokers, that's their livelihood, right? So they're not doing this stuff for free. Understandable. But if the brokers are filling out forms, provide me with since there's an option for me to do it on my own, provide me with the forms, tell me what I need, assist. That's my thought process. But easy day. I start the process. I pay, as I mentioned, I pay the fees that I needed to pay. One was for the weight of the vehicle. Another was the processing fee for the weight of the vehicle. Another was the wharf handling fee. That was $45. The processing fee was $150, and the fee for the weight was $26. So it came up to $176, right? So $176 for one thing, $45 for another thing. And here is the part that frustrated me the most. I asked the customs agent, I heard that there was a 2.5% fee on the purchase price of the vehicle, right? Can you confirm this? I'm trying to know, since I'm doing this third party, I'm in Millington, Tennessee, the car is in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sending a third party to pick up the car on my behalf, right? Not a broker, a transporter, but it's a friend of mine who does transporting, totally hitched transports, right? If you need something moved, car, truck, this man can do it, right? So he's going to get the vehicle for me, and I'm explaining this to the lady, right? And I'm like, I just need to know how much money to provide him so he can come and pay. So I'm asking 2.5% of the purchase price of the vehicle. Is that correct? This is what I've heard. I'm just trying to verify, again, from the source, right? So she's like, is this a commercial vehicle? And I'm like, no, ma'am, this is a personal vehicle. She said, not to be sold within a year. No, ma'am, I have no intentions of selling the car. She's like, well, it would be 2.5% of the purchase price, right? Got it. I have a bill of sale of what I purchased the car for when I was stationed in Japan, right? She's like, well, I said, so it's basically 2.5% of that, right? She said, no. I was like, but that's what you just said. I'm just trying to verify. She said, well, it depends on the agent that you get. And I'm like, I don't understand. What do you mean it depends on the agent that you get? She said, they could go off of the purchase price of the vehicle, or they can go off of the value of the vehicle. And I was like, well, depending on who you ask, a Toyota Supra can go for $40,000 on one end, $140,000 on the other end, depending on the modifications, depending on the condition, depending on all these different factors, right? My car is a twin turbo. It's a factory twin turbo auto, okay? At the time that I purchased it, it was the most reasonable one for me. And I knew that the automatic transmission wasn't going to be a hindrance for me, okay? So my wife wants to drive the car. She doesn't enjoy driving stick. Her driving the Supra as an automatic, not a deal breaker for me. I have a built auto tranny for the car. And I also have a desire to go maybe do a Grannis 6-speed down the road. So long story short, I wasn't too bummed out that it was not a V160 twin turbo, right? But it was a factory twin turbo. That's all I cared about. Factory twin turbo, Mark IV Supra. I can do the rest, right? So I'm like frustrated, man. But anyway, so I said it depends on who you talk to. The price could be, you know, from one extreme to the next. Who decides this? And she's like, well, it just depends on which agent you get. He could do a Google search, and you know, I said, so is he going to go out and look here? Is he or she going to go out and look at my vehicle to verify parts, to verify conditions? Because all of this stuff matters. And if I'm paying 2.5% of whatever this magic number is, I mean, again, that could vary, right? I just want to know which it is so I can provide this transporter the funds. She said, I would just write him a blank check. What? I said, I don't know if, I said, I don't know your financial situation. My financial situation, where my bank account set up, I'm not in a position to write anybody a blank check. You understand what I'm saying? That can't be the answer. But that's the answer she gave. And this isn't to slander anyone. I'm not slandering anyone. What I'm doing is voicing my frustration with a process. Okay, I'm committed to following this through. I'm committed to, you know, like, I mean, my vehicle arrives on the 3rd. Today is the 29th. Okay. My vehicle arrives on the 3rd. Next week, it's going to be here. Obviously, you're going to get a full video of me packing up to go get it and so on and so forth. We'll do that. But long story short, I have no choice but to go through this process, right? I'm not going to leave the car there. And that's another thing. For every day that the car sits there past that grace period that they give you, and I can't get a straight answer yet if it's 5 or 10 days, every day past that, it's $25 a day. Now, $25 might not seem like much if it's only there for a day or 2 days. But if it's there for 3 weeks, if it's there for a month, $25 a day, it's going to add up. So I'm motivated to get all the documents that I need signed by who I need it signed by, provide them with whatever documentation that they need. I have everything, you know what I mean, for the car. So everything is above board. I can't understand why I can't get a straight answer, but this is the process. And when I tell you everybody that I talk to, everybody is equally as frustrated about the process, even the people who do this on a regular basis. And what I notice is there's a large push for you to get a broker. So when I spoke to a broker, and I'm like, I'm trying to understand what I'm paying for. Like, am I paying you to give him a sheet of paper? Why don't I just give him a sheet of paper? Then I was told, well, you're going to need a bond. The bond is $400. It lasts for a year. So if you're going to bring another car in within a year's time, then you won't need to get another bond. But if you are, then you're going to need to renew your bond. So that I understand. So the broker already has a bond, and I get that. I don't object to paying for my own bond. I don't have a problem with that. Considering I have 2 cars coming in, right? And I think after this experience, I'm probably just going to pay a broker to do it just for the convenience. But I'm mainly doing this video for anybody who decides they're going to bring in one car one time, and they want to know how to do it. I'm going to do my best to show you the easiest way to do this as I navigate through it, right? So you're probably going to see another video with me going through this process, depending on how long and how drawn out this process is. But if I'm honest with you, man, my mind is not even on the GS. It's not even on, like I had to take a break from that to focus on this. Yeah, so that's today's video. my frustration, right? More to come.